How long have you lived over here for?
About 10 years, 11 years, something like that.
Nice. Perfect. So I guess we can just start with the bookkeeping. If you can say until your first last name, full title for you.
That's the hardest question.
I know, right?
Brandon, Brandon, Ellington, Ellington.
So if you can just take us through your day. What happened? When did you first realize this was going on?
I want to say it was about 10 this morning, 9:45, 10, something like that. This morning I have to actually look at the time. Heard a gentleman knocking on my door. Came down to see that the gentleman was Deron Black, the same gentleman that threatened my life before. He also works for my opponent. Called law enforcement because I'm trying to keep everything legal and right. And then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, I'm getting tagged and posted with the gentleman carrying a gun, talking about he's coming back over, rifle, talking about he's coming back over here, etc. Went down there and filed my order of protection because that's what I need to do legally. This is not the first time when it comes to my opponents, including me. This is what they typically do to elected officials to make them either do what they want them to do or try to intimidate them in a certain position. For me, it's not going to happen.
Sure. Was this over anything specific? Like, was this policy related, or is this just...
No, not policy related. I know he's been working with my opponent, so if I had to guess, I'm guessing that it's one of their ways of trying to make me act out in a certain way, but the only thing that's going to happen is me protecting myself legally. I'm not going to act out in any way that they try to force me to act out.
What's it like to see, especially some of those later videos where he's walking around with a real big gun and posting where he is? And
it shows clown behavior, and I say clown behavior because, again, we're talking about politics and we're talking about big dollars. Since I've been elected, I've been extremely transparent with dollars that have not touched the ground in the 3rd district, dollars that have been redirected in the 3rd district, so I'm not surprised. I am shocked that they dropped to this lower level this early to try to make me react when they know I'm not doing anything but truthfully exposing resources, policies, and what hasn't happened on the east side. I haven't made anything personal. Everything I've talked about has been factual.
I mean, what's your reaction to folks who look at that and say, I mean, super dangerous, definitely a threat, but also, I mean, that looks like someone who might be mentally ill and might be in crisis.
He could be. I have nothing to talk on that. Only thing I'm going to say is I will not be intimidated. I will not be fearful. I will walk in the same fashion that I've been walking in, and I will legally defend myself if I have to. And I think anybody that lives in the state of Missouri and anybody that lives in the city of Kansas City should do the same thing. You should not antagonize anything, but you have rights, God-given rights to defend yourself. And if you have to, legally take the steps to make sure that you're protected and your family is protected.
How dangerous is this for, I mean, obviously you guys, but also the idea of you're an elected official, you represent a lot more than just one person because of that body.
Yeah.
You know, how does that play into all this?
Well, it's extremely dangerous. Me personally, I'm one of the elected officials that's always out in the community, and I'm going to remain in the community. Most of the time you see me in the community by myself, and you will still see me by myself. So it's dangerous when you have a political apparatus.
I guess you said a couple times it's like the political apparatus. Like, is that, I mean, that feels like you
well,
think
that's what
that
it's, I know that's what it all is.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I had to go to law enforcement, because with the position that I'm in, if I come out and I react A, B, and C, I'm in trouble. If I get caught with a DUI, I'm in trouble, right? But it seems politically that those that come against me can have DUIs, can walk around with pistols and everything else that would cause somebody to get conflict. So I know it's ultimately political. So that's why I keep mentioning the political aspect, because I don't want people to think the gentleman is crazy, because if he was crazy, the same commentary that he had walking up the street, he would have had on the porch. But he did not have the same cussing and threatening walking down the street that he had on the porch. And then he goes down to 27th Street and starts threatening me with a pistol. That's calculated. That's not psychotic.
What do you do now?
Just keep doing what I do. Tomorrow we're going to be out registering people. So if y'all like to get registered, meet me on 39th to Prospect.
Sure. You know, what does it say about the security? I know, you know, council members don't really get security.
Yeah.
Does that need to change, or does that need to change for the next couple days?
I think the regulations of City Hall needs to change. I always put my faith in God, so I'm not really worried about having police security around me. But I do think people need to be aware of the heightened sense of danger with elected officials that transparently represent the community.
I guess, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, good. I'll give you examples. Malcolm X, murdered for representing the people, right? John Kennedy, murdered for representing the people. Martin Luther King, murdered for representing the people. Medgar Evers, murdered for representing the people. Brandon Ellington will not be murdered for representing the people. Brandon Ellington, God willing, will show the people how to not only legally protect themselves, but how to walk righteously in all circumstances.
This is a guy that's bothered you before.
Oh yeah.
Do you plan on pressing charges against him?
Today I ended up going to file the order of protection with the previous death threats and all that good stuff. I didn't file any police reports. Today I did file it because I know the cycle that I'm in, and I believe that if I'm not aggressive enough, the antagonistic tactics of my opponent in Freedom Inc. will continue.
Okay. So you filed a police report?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, just the order of protection, not necessarily a police report, just the order of protection.
So that's just that he's not allowed to be within a certain distance of you?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Perfect. Anything you think of this?
Well, how do you think about, with this happening, in your residence? Do you feel like you need to move or anything like that, or?
Nah, I grew up in the inner city. I don't feel like I need to move. What I feel like is when I walk, I need to be cautious, and I will be cautious. I feel like when I'm in the community, breaking down realities, I need to do that in a fashion knowing that it's millions of dollars that we're talking about that's been pillaged in the inner city, and there's a lot of people that are fearful of what may come about by facts and figures, not opinions, but facts and figures, meaning contracts, consulting contracts, development schemes, and the whole nine. So I think it's a lot of people that is fearful, and whenever you have a lot of money, you have danger. But me personally, I'm not going to walk in fear. I'm going to walk with protection of the law.
So I'm just trying to make sure I kind of have a fair understanding of it. Do you think he was kind of put up to this by political opponents, or?
Both. I think part of it is what's the word I want to use when you want to be somebody? What's that word? A jealousy. I think part of it is jealousy, because I actually do stuff in the community. I don't just talk about it. You have a lot of fictitious activists in the community that say they're doing A, B, and C, but have nothing to prove. And I think the other part of it is 100% political. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've had phone calls related to this gentleman and some of his friends and some of the tactics that they was planning on doing to make me act out. Even the lawsuit that was a misdemeanor that is still open by a time frame that should have been closed out is political. There's video cameras, there's audio of the alleged poking incident that I never did that's still going on. That's political. I called law enforcement and asked them if they wanted to interrogate me. No. Never heard anybody accused of assault. The detective was like, hey, we don't need to talk to you. But I thought I was accused of assault. I thought y'all talked to everybody for that. So I think it's definitely political, and I think the political nature of it has everything to do with what we've been uncovering. I've been on the city council for 4 years. In these 4 years, you hear people talk about all of the elements that are problematic in the inner city. But Freedom has been controlling the inner city for over 40. So if you have somebody in 4 years that's able to put streets in, able to put sidewalks in, able to put speed bumps in, and you have another organization that has made sure the inner city has remained stagnant and in poverty, I think there's an issue. And we're not talking about lack of resources. $75 million from 12th Street, 75th and Prospect, not to build anything. Hundreds of millions of dollars missing on 18th and Vine, not to build anything. Houses dilapidated, missing in the inner city. And all of this is stuff that I've been talking about. And I haven't made it personal, I made it all factual. So I think it's definitely political. And I think it's political because people are waking up. When you talk about oppression crosses color lines. Kansas City, you got white folks, black folks, and Latinos has been ultimately colonized. North Kansas City, east side, west side, etc. And I've been blessed to be able to show facts.